Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 19th of April 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets. Most of them, of course, are closed today, and we'll just see how we could position ourselves for next week. But before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, very quickly, so let's have a look at the first instrument here. Now this is the Nasdaq100. Now I talked about this one this week, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little level here. So the 7,700 level was the previous all-time high. So you can see that on Wednesday the index managed to reach a new all-time high, managed to kind of briefly overshoot the previous all-time high, and kind of reached a new one near the 7,715 level. And actually, let me just put that one on the chart very quickly just for our own future reference. Basically that's what we're going to be looking at. And we need to see a nice good pop again above the 7,700 level, and then of course for better confirmation above the 7,715 level in order to kind of consider higher levels. And this way, of course, if we do see these two breaks here, then well, the index could travel into this new uncharted territory, and we'll just try to find where the next potential area of resistance could be. Maybe we'll start looking at a nice round number like the 7,750 level, or even actually going further higher. But again, let's not over speculate too much on this one. First, let's see if it actually manages to clear the previous all-time high and the recent all-time high, and then yep, we'll target higher levels. For now, it's stuck here below the 7,700 level. The trading activity will resume on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Let me actually double check that very quickly. So I do apologize. It's gonna be Tuesday then when it's going to resume. So we, of course, the cash indices are going to be open, but yep, or actually no, I mean, okay guys, I need to double check that one. I do apologize for that. So the cash indices will start trading on Monday, of course, and but the US markets should be opening on Monday as well, but again with some delays probably. So please double check that. I do apologize for kind of this for kind of stalling a little bit here, and for this uncertainty. And yep, please do double check the calendars, and yep, we'll see. We'll take it from there. Now then, jumping into Dow Jones here. This one, unlike Nasdaq100, this one still has some room to go, and still has some room until it could reach the all-time highs. There were around the 26,950 zone, approximately there. So there are some good levels here above. We could see this one traveling a little bit higher here, especially towards this 26,681 level, 80 zone, approximately there. That was marked near the highs of the highs of the 5th of October. So basically a very good potential target here. Let's see if that actually plays out. For now, of course, all this is looking quite positive. Ignore this line here, that's no longer valid. Now what we could be looking at here is a bit of this little tentative upside support line taken from the lows of December last year. So in a way, that's what we're going to be targeting. That's what we're going to be aiming for if this index decides to reverse back down a little. And like I said, this is the line that we're going to be keeping a close eye on, because if it remains intact, we could see a rebound and a push higher towards the of course initially towards the 26,680 zone, but if that fails to hold, then yep, the path towards the all-time highs, the previous all-time highs, could be open again. So in terms of the downside here, well, what we're looking here for is, of course, we need to see that break below this upside support line before we could target lower areas, but for a better confirmation, you could in a way wait until we see a drop below the 26,250 level. This way the path could be open towards the psychological 26,000 level, and if that fails to withhold, well, I mean, we could see this one sliding further down. In a way, we could then target the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, but like I said, for now it seems to be that the downside could be slightly off the table, until of course we're trading here above this upside support line. If that upside support line gets broken, then we'll start considering slightly lower areas. Jumping into WTI and looking at this one here, still kind of ranging this whole week. For now, we're going to continue observing these key levels that I was talking about in one of my previous videos this week, and basically what we're looking here for is in order to kind of consider higher levels, we need to see a nice good push above the 64.65 level right here, basically marked by the upper side of this little range that the commodity is currently stuck in. So in a way, like I said before, considering higher levels, need to see that break here, break above this 64-65 zone, and only then we'll target areas like the 65.74, or even actually going further up, and above there we do have this 68 levels, which is quite an interesting one as well, marked by near the highs of the 26th of October. So yep, keep your eyes on that one, 28th of October to be more precise. So yep, keep your eyes on that one, guys. But like I said, for now we are going to remain somewhat neutral in this one. We will continue observing this little range here. In terms of the downside, even if it drops below this lower side of the range here, we need to see a break below this upside support line, this tentative upside support line taken from the lows of the 8th of March. Now, if that gets broken, and we see the price falling below the 61.85 zone, which is near the lows of 5th of April, now only then we'll get slightly more comfortable with lower areas, and even then the downside could be limited due to this upside support line taken from the low of the 11th of February. So that's why, guys, for now, certainly looking at this picture, we are slightly on the neutral territory, but if we see this one, if we see the WTI starting to break above the 64.65 level, then yep, we could see a push higher. Let's get rid of this arrow here, but if this decides to drop below the 63 zone, approximately there, then watch out for this upside support line, because if it fails to withhold, we may see a further decline lower. So keep your eyes on this one. Very interesting developments here in the WTI oil, and yep, let's wait for that confirmation break. GBPUSD, very quickly on this one. So of course not a lot of activity, but today it just continues to balance around the psychological 130 level. It traveled higher after yesterday reaching its this key area of support near the 1.2975 level. You can see that we did have a nice rebound here and a push higher, but again, like I said, it's currently getting held by this psychological 130 level. Now, in terms of the upside here, I mean, from the very short-term perspective, where we're going to be looking here for is ideally we would start looking at higher levels if we see a push. Let me just zoom this one in a little bit. If we see a push above the 130.30 zone, I mean, this is where the interest, the buying interest, could start picking up. But if it starts breaking above this little area here, let me just get rid of this one. If it starts getting above this little area near the 130.50, now this is where more bulls could start joining in and potentially driving this one higher. We could maybe see a retest of this upside support line from underneath this time. And then we'll just take it from there, because if this of course continues to accelerate further and pushes above the 1.3125 level, now this is where it could become really nice for the bulls. We could see more of them again joining in here and leading this pair back up here towards the 132 zone. But then again, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. First, let's keep a close eye on the 130.30. Let's see if that actually gets reached. But given that there's actually more weakness seen here, it kind of continues to slide lower, continues to form lower highs. In a way, if we start seeing a break here below the 1.2975 level, now this is where we could start looking at slightly lower areas. Initially, of course, we'll aim for this little low here, the lowest point of March near the 1.2960, but if that fails to withhold, then yep, deeper extensions to the downside could be possible. So let me just put quickly an arrow here just for our future reference. So basically that's the situation that we're going to be looking at if we see initially a drop below the 129.75 and then a break below the 129.60. For us, the next target could be around the 129 zone, and that acts as a very good area of support here back on the 12th of February, and also it marked as a an intraday swing high of the 15th of February. So keep your eyes on that one. Oh, I do apologize. I was talking about the 128.30. Sorry, guys. I mean, the 129 marks the lows of the 19th of February. Okay. Yep. There goes my Friday. Okay, guys. So basically, long story short, keep your eyes on the 129.75 and 1.2960. We need to see, before examining lower levels, we need to see a break below these two levels. And then we could start targeting the 129 zone, which is near the lows of the 19th of February. In terms of the upside, we'll start at least considering slightly higher levels if we see a push above the 130.30 and then, of course, above the 130.50 level. So jumping into the last two pairs very quickly here, so that's EURCHF. So basically on Wednesday I was talking about this one basically, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this because we may see a bit of a correction here to the downside, which happened yesterday. So we did see a strong slide here lower, managed to test this tentative upside support line and kind of rebounded back to the upside. Now the only thing is here, let me just get rid of this arrow. The only thing is that it failed to drive towards this week's highs, which are near the 1.1423 area, approximately there. It failed to get towards that area, so it's now kind of currently stuck here near this upside support line. So in a way, for us to consider, let's say, lower levels on this one, we would need to see, of course, a break of this upside support line, and then we could at least target this next other on the other upside support line taken from the low of the 2nd of April. But for now it's kind of sitting here. The only thing is that we're not going to really start jumping into these buys here yet, because in a way, for us to get slightly more comfortable with higher levels, we would like to see a nice good push above the 1.1423 level. This way, a break above that, above this area here, this way the pair would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could target higher areas. But for now, like I said, guys, it's stuck here, and it's not really the place where we could start jumping into those buys. But in the same time, it's not the area where we will start selling here, because for lower areas, we would like to see a drop below the, initially of course, below the upside support line, and then a nice good clearance of these lows, these Thursday's lows near the 1.1364 zone. So a nice good drop below that could lead towards slightly lower areas around here. So guys, for now, keep your eyes on this one. Very, like I said, very interesting pair, and let's see if actually this pair can continue traveling higher. USDCHF, this one is very interesting as well. Similar story here, like in the Euro CHF. It also had a nice decline on Thursday, yesterday, and continued to decline today, and managed to reach this 1.0125 level that I was talking about this morning in my trader's espresso. And basically now you can see that it rebounded nicely, perfectly from that level. By the way, this level marks the highest point of March, and it rebounded nicely. Now the question here is, will it have enough power to push higher and break above the 1.0160 level? Now this is where what's going to be very interesting to see, because if we do see a nice good push above this, of course this would confirm a higher high. We could then target maybe higher areas. The only thing is that don't exclude this 1.00170 zone. Now just to kind of show you what that level was in the past, I need to jump into the daily chart on this one, and this was basically marks the highest point of March 2017. So that's how important this level is. Now if that gets broken, if the 1.0170 level gets broken, now this, of course, yep, we could see further acceleration to the upside, of course, to aiming for the 1.02 and maybe even above that. But until then, yep, keep your eyes on these two levels, on the 1.0160 and the 1.0170. So let's see if actually the pair manages to reach those. In terms of the downside for us, in order to consider lower areas, slightly lower areas, we need to see a break below the 1.0110, and only then we'll aim towards these areas, maybe even actually going all the way here towards this upside support line taken from the low of the 20th of March. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful. I do apologize for kind of stalling a little bit in the beginning of the video. So yep, it's Friday. So yep, sorry about that. But I hope you join me on Monday. So we'll be back with the videos on Monday, and yep, we'll be back here. So I hope you have a wonderful Easter for those who are celebrating Easter, and yep, I'll see you on Monday. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Bye bye.